Autobahn. Autobahn.
Main phase.
Hello everybody and welcome to a third stream in 3 days. I'm on a bit of a roll with these lesser played arcade games, so I thought I'd do a few more because I was having a look at my lists of games I wanted to play in these streams and I realised there were quite a lot that I'd skipped over in the previous 2 streams, and I'd got a bit of time, I'd got what I'd done needed to do earlier today done, and I thought, why not do another stream? So welcome to everybody who has decided to join. If you weren't here for the previous 2 streams, you missed many good games and many bad games. If you were, you'll know what you're in for. In the chat we have Carlo, Tony and Cow and Evie, so not too many people in early this time, but that kind of makes sense. I think we had Aussie Guy and Thomas in earlier too. I don't know if they're still watching. They're usually around, and if they've popped off somewhere, they may be back. So anyway, thank you to everybody who's here. I know 3 days in a row is quite a lot. We've got Mr. Outer Heaven too. You just woke up from a night shift. Well, you've got some games that may wake you up a bit more or send you back to sleep. But I think, yeah, with all that done, we can just get on with this one. The first game we're going to be playing is a prototype that was dumped a couple of years ago called In Your Face, and it's from Jaleco, and it's a basketball game. I almost said baseball. It's a basketball game, and if honest, it's not very good, but we will see that shortly. I mean, a lot of Jaleco's games are a bit rough anyway. You're still here, Thomas. Good. In My Face. Yes, this is my face, and this game is in it apparently. It's the attitude thing, isn't it, of the era? So let's have a look. Let's coin it up. When did this come out? In 1991. So yeah, let's be the New York skyscrapers. Oh, look, we've got a fake mouse pointer. That's exactly what you want on your thing. I have T-Nut and C. Cummings. And M. Whiteman. Well, am I picking everybody? Okay, that'll do. And I'm going to man them. So, can everybody hear me? And the stream volume level's good? So, it's 3 buttons. And it has these little cutscenes when you're about to score a basket, or the computer is, which quite a few basketball games do. I don't know which was the first game to do it. Obviously, I'm not playing it very well at the moment. Now, unfortunately, like a lot of Jaleco games, it suffers some really bad slowdowns. The 68K was a bit slow, and I don't think the programming is much good. You see there, when it's moving with everybody on the screen, you suddenly got loads of slowdown. That is a light gun behind me, cow. It arrived today. I have yet to try it out. So one thing I could have done instead of doing the stream actually was give the light gun a try. Oh look, I've already got to continue. I've barely played the game. So yeah, if the light gun works with a streaming setup, I may do a light gun stream. I don't know if it will or won't. I've not tried it yet, but we'll see. It's not going to make me any better at the games, but you might get to see me shooting at things inaccurately because my aim is useless. Even with a really good gun that aims really well, I'm pretty much MAME the Stormtrooper. Yeah, the music's maybe the only bit that's alright. The gameplay is just very generic basketball with too much slowdown. I mean, there are worse basketball games. It does have that sprite-lag problem that a lot of Jaleco games have in MAME, which I don't know if happens on the PCB or not, but being a prototype, maybe I won't ever find out. The ball physics is really odd though. That's the one thing you do notice in this. The way the ball moves is just completely unnatural. NBA Jam, this is not. Look, time up. I want another credit off me. It wants far too many credits for a very average game. And the computer seems to do the same thing at the start of every match. I do the same thing all the time too, but no. If you get to throw it, you get a travelling violation. And the announcer there doesn't sound like a sports announcer. It sounds more like an announcer you find on Shoot 'em Up. Warning you that there's a big boss coming. Oh dear. Yes, it was nice that Arnold Schwarzenegger referee the game. Oh look, it wants another coin off me. I don't think the New York skyscrapers are very good, that's my excuse. Fourth period is about to start. I don't know if it's because I'm behind it wants coins, or if I was in the lead it wouldn't, but it's... General rule... Now it's getting embarrassing. The guy's top changes colour. Yeah, they don't recolour it, do they? They just use a generic animation of one player and one team, regardless of who scores. I don't know if that's something they would have... Where did the ball go? I'm pretty sure the ball just vanished there. Right, I'm not on the leaderboard. This game is for use in North America only. In your face. Let's give it one more go. Let's go with the Houston Arrows. Nothing like popping a ball with an arrow. I hope we can do J Kingdom and B Davis, and it selects the others for me if I press exit. I I can select zone. Nope. But yeah, it's as you say, it's always the. I mean, the guy doing the dunking there had a red top, just like the opposition, which is very confusing, actually. So that bar moves really quickly. I don't know if it's just the players have got, but you have to be on the ball, not in your face. It should be on the ball. There we go. Also, it seems to vamp up the difficulty quite high towards the end, because at the end of the last match I couldn't get near the ball. So time up. So even if I'm winning, when the time runs out, I have to put in another coin for the next period. I don't know if there's a dip switch option to change that. I mean, there are, most of them are unknown, but it just wants to take all your money. In fact, the teams are swapped, aren't they, for the animation? It's not that it's just using one team's animation. They're the wrong way around. When I'm dunking, I'm red. When they're dunking, they're white. Or was it always red and white? This feels like it was developed a contractor for Jaleco. It could have been. It does feel very, very rough. But a lot of Jaleco games do, so it feels just about rough enough to be a Jaleco game to me. Yeah, possibly. I mean, I don't know anything about the development of it. Let's turn on the unknown dip switches and see what happens then. Let's see if it now still wants credits for everything. Backcourt violation. That's a new one. I don't know much about the rules, so I'm sure that's a real thing. Yeah, the colours are literally swapped when you're dunking. That's a funny bug to have in a prototype. Oh dear. So, yeah, I don't think that's an emulation bug. I think that's just the game. It really just swapped your player colours. I thought they were just fixed colours, but they're really not. They're the wrong colours. They're the opposition colours. Wow. Quality. Absolute quality. It's a good thing this is an unreleased game, otherwise it would be even worse. Is that Wally in the crowd with a red and white shirt? So, playing the wrong game. I say I was losing then, so it still wanted a coin for sure. But I think it always wants a coin. I think this is just bad. Hey Mania. What's up is that I've decided to start off the screen with a really bad Jaleco prototype. It has quite a few obvious issues, not least the player colours being swapped when you dunk, which is kind of hilarious. Also, I think those unknown difficulties, these switches might have been difficult because I'm struggling even more this time. Charging. It looks like it should be the guy trying to prevent the basket. Unless there's a priority bug and it's meant to be drawing two players there. That could be an emulation bug. Next time it's on that screen, I'm going to get the tarmac viewer up. I'd like it to go onto that screen, please. This is by Jaleco, yes. Or, as Aussie Guy says, possibly a contract for Jaleco. I don't know much about it. I mean, there was a, I think, there was a version of it, I think, for the, so, actually, it probably is the player trying to block it, because there's a player in yellow on the tile map, so I think it's a priority bug. Because look, there is the player in that tower. So maybe it's not a bug in the game. Maybe it's a bug in MAME's priority handling. Because I think that is meant to be in the foreground. So yeah, that is probably a main bug actually. So forgive me for blaming Jaleco for that one. That seems to be our bug with the priorities. Or it's using the wrong priority prom. Which is possible. But yeah, there appears to be a priority bug then. Not a game bug. Yeah. Yeah, and that makes more sense now actually. It is the player trying to block it, so I don't have to pretend. It really is meant to be the player trying to block it, so there's a priority glitch there. Unfortunately, some of these Jaleco boards are using the wrong priority proms on them because people have converted other ones and they ended up in distribution, so it could be an emulation bug with the priorities, which I don't think are handled 100% correctly, or it could be the board had the wrong prom on it or something. You think this was developed by CP Brain for Jaleco? But yeah, that's a definitely a priority bug there then that we need to look at or conclude we can't fix. There we go. So I apologise to Jaleco. It's still not a good game. It's still a game that eats all your money after a single quarter. But the dunking colours is not their fault probably because the correct graphics are in the tile maps, just not displayed. So we'll move on from in your face. Now, embarrassingly, already blamed a company for what are probably main bugs. It happens. It happens. And we're going to go on to a game that at least I don't play very often, but is sometimes comes up in people's lists of worst games. And that is Jack the Giantkiller. Good evening, Darren. Hope you're doing well. Thank you for joining. And we've just gone from one bad game to another bad game. So, well, maybe I didn't like In Your Face. I think they're better basketball games, but maybe. So, this game, animation-wise, reminds me of the Century games like Hunchback. Gameplay-wise, maybe also. Anyway, let's coin it up. Now, being Jack and the Beanstalk, you climb Beanstalk, which just looks like a big tree. And if you're not perfectly aligned with the Beanstalk and you move, you fall off. Cinematronics did many better games than this, or licensed than this. I don't think it was made back then. This seems suspiciously quiet too. There's barely there's a little bit of music, then just get a relaxing shot style effect when you collect something. It's very poor, and I can see why many people list this on their worst games list. Now you do see one wrong tap, if you're slightly out of place, you'll fall off and you'll die. CP Brain. Is it Brain or Brian? CP Brain Brian also developed 64th Street. 64th Street's not too bad though. Now you do have a jump button, but again, if you jump to where there isn't something to grip onto, you will fall down. And there, that's a credit gone already. So yeah, I've not spent much time playing this because every time I've played this, I've immediately gone, wow, that's bad. That's really bad, and stopped playing it. And yes, you can climb off upwards, downwards, leftwards, rightwards, any way you want, and fall to your death. I mean, it's a good lesson to kids, you know, don't try and climb beanstalks, giant beanstalks, because they're really dangerous. But, yeah. Okay, so we can get to the top. Maybe, if I'm lucky. Ooh, almost tricking me at the top. There we go. The pit is easily one of the most frustrating arcade games ever. Oh, we've got a second stage. We now got to the goose and the golden eggs, and it's turned into a Donkey Kong knockoff. But again, with terrible controls. In fact, I've got a basket. Why am I trying to avoid the eggs? But why would I want to collect the eggs? I don't know. I can go up here. But again, it's awful platforming. And then it's straight to game over. I think this is possibly more frustrating than the pit. Now, I don't even know how many stages this has. I couldn't get to the second stage earlier. I do notice there are 3 different sets with the title Jack the Giantkiller as well, and I don't think anybody's ever extensively compared them. But here we go. Let's give this second stage another try then. The game is titled, in Japan, is titled Treasure Hunt. Indeed, Aussie Guy, we'll be looking at Treasure Hunt shortly because it's worth talking about. So going that way, I do a massive jump. Yeah, this isn't very good. If I pick games that I know I've seen on people's lists of worst games ever, I mean, I know what I'm letting myself in for. And it probably does deserve that title. But I would like to try and see a bit more of it. You know, I'm not a quitter. Oh. I don't know why everything changes colour when you die. The apples change colour. And if you know the bottom when you die, the house changes colour. I don't know if that's correct. It looks ugly, but... You know, I don't think looks ugly is necessarily a bug in a game like this. The whole game is just ugly. Now, I guess it was renamed to Jack and the Treasure Hunt in Japan because... Is the tale of Jack and the Beanstalk not really traditional over there? I don't know. Doesn't feel like a very Japanese tale, but who am I to say? Nice Code should do a take on this. I'm surprised they haven't. So where is your foot collision box? Because... you can't get too near the edge or you die. Okay. Jack the Giantkiller. Note, there is one attract demo. A single attract demo. Now, we will look at Treasure Hunt. Because I think, while a lot of people know Jack as a really bad game, people overlook Treasure Hunt, which, as Aussie Guys said, is the version that was released in Japan. In Japan, the story is called Jack and the Edamain Stork. But anyway, they didn't call this Jack the Giantkiller in Japan. They called it Treasure Hunt. by Hara Industries. Otherwise, pretty similar, although let's let the attract mode run. It's still got that really wonky walk cycle there that looks like Hunchback. Now you'll notice the tree graphics are a lot more sparse, and also the colours are a bit ugly. I don't know if the colours are correct, but the colours are a bit ugly and the tree is rather sparse. It's not got the leaves everywhere now. That's one change you instantly notice in the attract mode. But it also does an attract demo of this level where the colours are even uglier. But again, this might be the correct colour scheme. It's an ugly game. Yeah, the Japanese version is rebalanced. Then we've got this as a platform section, which is, again, very Donkey Kong-like. I don't know if this is in the Jack version because I couldn't get there. It might be. But this is actually showing... Yeah, here's the part I was on. And it was actually showing the different stages. So the Japanese version, Treasure Hunt, gives you a better idea what the game is about before you coin it up. And one important difference here is you can't actually go off the edge by just using the joystick. You can't, you know, you can't just jump off the edge by pressing a direction. You can jump like this still, and yes, if you jump to where there's nothing, you will fall down. But you can't just press a direction and fall off. You have to actively jump to fall off. Which makes this whole beanstalk climbing a lot less unfair. Now, it is a bit narrower because you don't have all the leaves to climb all over. But the fact that you're not just going to accidentally fall off by pressing a button is a big improvement. Just makes it easier to go up and collect things. And I get to this stage. So this stage is the second stage in this version. And I guess I'm just waiting for the paths to open up so I can get up there. I can still jump. But for example, I mean, there was a path up there at one point. So there we go. Now I get to this stage. Although I don't know what killed me then. Hey GSI Matty, welcome to another stream. Always good to see you. I hope you're doing well. And in this one, we're looking at, again, many more games that don't get played very often. It's still a bad game. It's just this version of the game is slightly less unfair, at least on this first stage. I mean, I think this one stands a chance of being a game somebody won't have liked much when they've played, without necessarily being, you know, worst game ever material, as Jack the Giantkiller often gets grouped in with. But yeah, if you only played Jack the Giantkiller and hated it, then maybe have a look at this version. It's probably not going to make you think it's a great game, but it's definitely one of the lesser played versions of games in MAME. And sometimes lesser played, I think, applies to clone sets too, because people often just run the parent sets and then miss differences in versions. Now, I don't know if there are any major differences in the three different Jack sets in MAME. I couldn't find any initially, but maybe they've got ordering changes too later on. Oh, we've seen some bad games. Yeah, we've seen worse games. Although, I can't necessarily say it's good, because there are times in this where I've been dying and not really understood what's killed me. Although in that case, it was a cat. In that case, it was the back of a mouse. It's not a good game still. It's really not a good game. But in that case, I didn't even see a brick spawn. I think the collisions are just really off. See, I was barely touched that bird and I'm dead. Your collision box seems slightly bigger than your sprite, and now. But yes, Treasure Hunt is definitely a more refined version of the game. I can't, go and say recommend it. I do wonder why the colours change when you fall off, though. Even on this set, the house changes colour when you fall off. It just looks really strange. So, Treasure Hunt. Probably a lesser played arcade game because most people will fire up Jack and hate it and never look at the clones and not realise this version has a few tweaks and does play a little better. Jack the Giantkiller / Treasure Hunt from Hara SNK Cinematronics was so bad Cinematronics filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection in '82 and the game was mockingly called Jack the Company Killer. That's another Aussie guy fact there for you. Kind of doesn't surprise me. Cinematronics, I think they had more misses in general than hits, but it's a step down from many of the earlier games they did. I mean, I can think of worse Cinematronic games. I'm probably not going to play it, but War of the Worlds for a movie license tie-in. Was it a tie for the movie? I think it was a tie for the movie. Was terrible. Really, really bad. Just no meaningful gameplay in it. Anyway, moving on from really quite awful things, let's go to one that I have somewhat fond memories of but never spent much time with it, and that is Zaviga from Data East, an 84 game, an early Data East one. It doesn't look like a game that would have had a great deal of investment and money spent on it, so they must have been struggling anyway. But this is one of those games where you can go along the ground or you can fly. So on the ground, there are many ground hazards. In the air, there are flying hazards. So it's similar hardware to B-Wings, which is probably a more famous game. And obviously I'm reminded of games like Xenon on the Amiga, which had the whole air-ground mechanic too. Let's see, I'm on the ground now, so I can attack things down here. Now, I don't know why this one doesn't seem to get mentioned much or played much. Maybe it's because it begins with Z and everybody's bored of looking at games by the time they get to Z. But I don't know, sometimes you might start at Z and work backwards. Maybe it's just a little too generic and so nobody has anything to say about it. Obviously it's a little bit Xevious-like with your shot and bomb mechanic, but with the added twist that you can also go on the ground. Yeah, it looks like a Xevious sequel, you're right, Johnny Bond. Just with the up and down. It's got your height indicator at the side, although you can't do variable heights as far as I know, it's just higher or lower. You can't change halfway while you're descending or ascending either. You have to wait until you're fully ascended or landed on the ground. There's a bit of momentum on the ship movement. It slides a little bit after you stop pressing the button, which I guess a lot of shooter fans aren't going to like. But here I think it works. Let's go down here. The problem is being on the ground, trees become the worst enemy. Yeah, mix of B-Wings, which is on similar hardware, and Argus and Namco Xevious, Aussie guy says. It's been a while since I played Argus, actually. Maybe that should have been on one of these streams. I'm not sure what it's... That backwards scroll at the start there, which I'm assuming is some sort of mothership type thing, is kind of off-putting. Visually. It feels, why is this thing scrolling away from you? What is it? You don't get time to see it. I'm not too keen on that. Maybe that plays a role later. So I've really not spent much time with this game myself. I've always just overlooked it. Clouds, nice cloud effects. Not every game has priority clouds. fly-like enemies, aren't they? See, the clouds move at different speed to the ground. Yeah, they look like flies. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Your ship is very big up here. Look on the ground, but it's seem to fire faster on the ground too. Look at this. Where now? The bullets are a bit hard to see. I'll say that much as a bit of a negative. The bullets against this background, bit of a nightmare. Obviously you can't kill the airborne enemies when you're on the ground because you're too low to get them. I killed a big grid thing. I think I meant to kill it. It gave me lots of points for killing it. Tells you which checkpoint you're on as a counter, like an area or something. I was on checkpoint 20. The fact it says checkpoint and then actually takes you back somewhere earlier means it's not really a checkpoint, it's just zone, it's area. That's an odd use of the word checkpoint on the mark at the side there, the pod display. If it's checkpoint, that's what it should restart me. Otherwise, it's just zone. Look, I've gone from 20 to 17. Oh, that kills you. Alright. I thought it might be a power up. Wasn't a power up. What is my counter? Is it like a cup of tea? Or a magic lamp? Hmm. Let's give it one more credit, then we'll move on. But, yeah, if you like your mixed ground and air shooters and always wanted to be on the ground, this might be one to check out. Provides a decent level of challenge. It does make some interesting noises. You're right, Pirate Game Boy. Hey SB, welcome and thank you for joining. Good to see you again. I wonder how far you can actually drive in the tank before you have to go in the air. There's surely some tricky parts. Tricky part. Yeah, that straight into a bullet. It does just wrap, doesn't it? Yeah, I think so. Yeah, there's no way up there. You have to go in the air. You have to fly over that mountain range. You like these lesser played games, stream? Yeah, they're fun for me too because, you know, the games that I always end up overlooking or not playing, and I learn something about them myself. I might not be able to share deep knowledge about many of them, but I'm discovering something. I'm seeing what I think of the games. It's almost like I'm going to the arcade and seeing a new game on the on the floor and giving it a try and seeing how I feel about it. And I think that is probably the experience that you're getting to, hopefully. This is Zaviga by Data East. It's in the bottom left corner, Tommy Wells, the name, the set name. I always think I've seen them. I've probably launched every game in MAME at some point. So I kind of know what they're going to be, but actually playing them is something else. I've definitely not played every game, at least to, you know, a point where I can form an opinion of it. This one, yeah, I quite like this one actually. Seems a bit more intense in the action than something like Xevious. The ground and air switch over works well as a mechanic. Initial opinions good aside from the bullets being quite difficult to see at times. It does sound a bit like a Williams game. Yeah, I've done a few, and the flashy bit there a bit like a Williams game. But yeah, it's not a bad one actually. I think it's one of the better early Data East shooters I've played. I've played a few early Data East shooters and been underwhelmed by them, but this one I think, yeah, that one I did enjoy it. There didn't seem to be anything in the way of power-ups, but it is an early game, so maybe you don't expect that. Right. Shall we stick with relatively early games? I think we will. I can't remember if I played this one on stream or not. This is a game by Subelectro called Pisces. Now, the interesting thing with Subelectro is they're generally only known for straight-up bootlegs of games, maybe with a fuel meter hacked in or something like that. Yet Pisces, which runs on Galaxian hardware, doesn't actually feel like it's just a hack of something else, unless it's a hack of a game we don't have. It does kind of feel like its own game. How do you play Sega AM games on... which ones were you thinking about, Tommy? Sega have a lot of games. But yeah, the yellow aliens you can just shoot. The other ones come crashing down to Earth when you shoot them. So you have to move out the way. I don't quite know what they're meant to be. They look like spider teddy bears. And the sound effects are clearly very Galaxian inspired. Yeah, moon-crested Galaxian noises. So it could be an elaborate hack of something like Mooncrest or Galaxian. This is clearly a Phoenix-inspired stage, where you have to shoot the centre, or you can shoot the wings, they go on fire, but they recover. It kind of stuns them, which gives you a better chance to hit them. But otherwise, you know, it is very much like Phoenix. Again, I've not seen this mechanic in an actual Galaxian hardware game other than the hacks of Phoenix on Galaxian hardware. Comes back as a green, more powerful bird. Hey Gerald, welcome. Good to see you as well. Same Gerald who dumped many things back in the day, I'm guessing. So now we've got sort of a lunar lander type, not lunar lander, lunar rescue stage, just without the takeoff part. And now we've got Cloud of Doom, which is a bit of a boring stage. Yes, I think this is the only Subelectro game that isn't obviously just a straight bootleg, which makes it interesting, but also probably means it gets overlooked because people just look at Subelectro and go, "Oh, bootleg." So I don't see anybody talking about playing this one. It's a mishmash of Pleiades and Lunar Rescue and a few other things. It's a very strange game. I do wonder if it's a bootleg of a game that was tested and Subelectro just happened to bootleg a game that never got released, or if Subelectro hacked this up themselves. It's a mystery to me. Yeah, this is the most basic stage of the lot. You just shoot these things until there are no more left to shoot. Then this thing comes and you can shoot it. And then it loops. Yeah, it's got this mix of stages. Now they're more difficult. There's more being shot at you. I mean, obviously it's still quite a basic game. There's not a huge amount going on. But I gave it a little spin earlier and thought, yeah, that's worth playing. offers something a bit different. I can't help but think that the anthem should be at the end of the game, not after the first stage, but, you know, there are many, many unknown treasures, yes, Gerald. So yes, Subelectro's Pisces. Easily overlooked, nobody talks about it, but it does provide its own experience. Much in the same way something like Gore provides its own experience with a mix of stages. Pisces here by Subelectro does the same, but on Galaxian hardware. So it's not groundbreaking, but it's a bit of fun, and I'm glad I went through the list and found this one and tried it. It was a British ship. Subelectro, I thought they were French. I think a lot of the Subelectro bootlegs are found in France, but I'm not entirely sure. How do you fix the issue with Suzuka 8 hours, Tommy? You use the newer MAME version where we fix the sound. Same with Final Lap, Cow's favourite game. The engine sounds and everything else are pretty good in the latest version of the MAME for Suzuka. If you're talking about like the Model 1, 2 and 3 games, MAME does some Model 1 stuff. The Model 2 emulator runs the Model 2 games better than MAME, and Supermodel runs the Model 3 games. If you're talking about Sega AM1, 2, 3 team games, they're across all platforms. MAME runs some of them. Maybe Italian. Maybe. I don't know. I've got in the back of my mind we've got some French bootlegs with Subelectro on, that's all. Anyway, this is a fun little game. You use mobile. I don't know if the Model 2 emulator is not on mobile. Supermodel, I don't know if there's a mobile port. There might not be. You can probably find a newer MAME core on mobile that will have Suzuka fixed. But I don't know. I don't use mobile myself, so I don't know for sure. Anyway, let's keep going. Shall we stick with old black and white? Well, not black and white. Old games. I think we will. But let's go with TDS and MINTS Cosmo from 1979. Now, we did play another TDS and MINTS game a while back. Maybe, well, when I say a while, probably a couple of days. But here, this is TDS MINTS Cosmo, which again is a unique Space Invaders Galaxian type game. Unfortunately, there's no sound emulation. I guess the sound is all discrete stuff, so it's going to be a bit quiet. I don't know if we should... In fact, I think these no sound ones, let me just put on some sound in the background. Let's see what I've got here. I have got the Raiden Fighters Jet... I've got some Raiden Fighters music that we can put on the background, just so that we've got some sort of sound. That works, doesn't it? There. Now we don't have to play in complete silence. Hey Maud, thank you for joining. Welcome. I hope you're doing well. So yeah, I've put on some music because otherwise we'd be playing in silence, and that's not always great, is it? Subelectro could be UK. Well, there is sound. I thought there was no sound at all. The Space Invaders sound. Right, well, we've got music anyway. We've got Raiden Fighters Jet music and some Space Invaders sound. I thought it said the sound wasn't properly emulated at the start. Aussie Guy mentioned it last time. MINTS, I think, was the initials of the programmers, and TDS was the company. Now, these enemies seem to turn into coat hangers when they dive at you. I really don't know why they turn into rather bent-looking coat hangers, but they do. Now, this one's got a wave of almost like upward-moving asteroids that loop around and almost feel like centipede mushrooms, but scrolling upwards. So yeah, this is, say, another multi-stage... Oh, thank you, Tommy, for subscribing. This is another multi-stage shooter game. A bit like Pisces, but probably a bit older. 1979. Look, we've got another stage. Very Space Firebirds-like stage with the little bat-like creatures diving down. The way the enemies group and move together here is quite different. Not something I'm used to seeing. The enemy patterns. And now we've got Space Bomber. Space Bomber Bee, I'm going to call this. Congratulations, you make high score. Maybe there's a reason people don't play this. I don't know. I mean, is it necessarily worse than other Space Invaders type games, Galaxian type games with its own patterns? I've certainly never sat down and played it before, so beyond the first wave here, which I've probably seen, I've not seen it before. The blue things sit on top of the yellow ones too. So, then attack you? Then attack together? Are they Angry Birds? Is this an Angry Birds prequel? Plus I've got radio music on in the background and that makes everything better. In fact, the enemies look like birds too. Look in the bottom of the screen. Although, well, I don't know why that enemy is still on the screen here when that enemy's not on this level, but... doesn't necessarily make sense, but it's definitely a hidden game in MAME, I think. We did play Cosmos, which is a very similarly titled game yesterday, which maybe Cosmos overshadows Cosmo. People don't realise they're two separate games. If I was stuck on a desert island and could choose one game, what would I choose? That's a very difficult... Oh, the graphic in the bottom is the rate waves you could. What would I choose? I'm not entirely sure. I mean, if you ask me what my favourite game is, I'd say the New Zealand Story. But at the same time, I might enjoy playing Bubble Wobble more for an extended period of time. I mean, I know they're classic games and an easy answer, but Bubble Wobble, you'd want a friend though. You just get really annoyed that you couldn't complete Bubble Wobble properly with only a single player, so I don't know. If I was trapped on a desert island with a friend, Bubble Wobble, because we'd be able to get the good ending. I want to beat this bee. I think it's a bee, or is it just an intelligent sword? Oh, the bombs explode of their own accord. Okay. Well, we've probably seen enough of this. It's... Again, I wanted to see if it looped at that point. But Cosmo. By TDS and Mints. I think that's actually alright. I think you could happily play that one and enjoy it. I say I like the different waves it's got there. Again, we've got a bee wasp type enemy really early on, way before Dodonpachi or Donpachi. So, yeah. Right, where next? This one was mentioned yesterday. Now, I've played this maybe more than some people, but I can also appreciate that it might not be the most played game. So, Saboten Bombers. This is an NNK platformer. Single screen platformer. To me, this always feels vaguely related to Butter Sand Pigs and Bombers. but that was sort of a side-on play field arena battle. But it did have lots of bombs and things in it, so you know, it was an NMK game from Jaleco. A Joinem, yeah, Joinem was mentioned yesterday too. I've played it on stream before. I might have to give it another try. Are there any Bomberman style games? There are quite a few, GSI Matty. I mean, there's Bomberman, and there are a few that don't run very well. There was Last Fighting that I demoted to not working because I think it runs too fast, and there's B&B Arcade that needs an ARM recompiler. There's Fireball, which I've played on stream before, which is a Bomberman game. So, right, Gerald, I may have a look at it. I would go insane with the bubble music, possibly. I quite like it. So, you're throwing bombs around, things get caught up in bombs and blow up. And if you're not careful and get caught up in a bomb yourself, you blow up. So it's very easy to end up hurting yourself in this one. X-Vania is a bit Namco-like, a bit Bomberman-like from Namco, yeah. There's of course Neo Bomberman, the Neo Geo version. And there's a few. I think I'm forgetting some of them, but... Yes, bedroom-themed backgrounds. The backgrounds are a bit boring in this, but I can't think of many games where you play as a cactus throwing bombs around, so it always gets points for me for that. And also it's one of those really hectic games. Just stay out the way of everything that bounces. Snow Brothers with explosions, yes, Barry. I think in terms of how it plays, it's Snow Brothers expert mode. But if your character had been a pig, they could have said it was a sequel to Butter-san, I'm sure. Let's jump out. Ooh. Now you get a one-on-one fight, which I think if you run two-player mode is against the other player. Now you can probably tell if I actually played this one before because that's the first time I've died. So you can be near the explosions as long as you're not in the ball when it explodes, or don't do that. You love games that utilise the whole screen. I mean, we've discussed games that don't. I was going to do a single screen, a split screen, 4 split screen stream at one point. Because I think it's interesting to see games that 4 split screen. Although most arcade games do make good use of the screen. I think I've got something bad here. Bubble Bobble was a hit. Bubble Bobble was a big hit. On many platforms too. As Aussie Guy says, Snow Brothers meets Butter-san. This is. Bomb coming my way. I think my favourite game with bombs is still Penguin Brothers, though. Oh, I do have to continue now. Stage 9. Let's continue. Don't do that. That's silly. Attacking things when you're too close can be dangerous. Spider-Man versus Kingpin, you can use everything you see. You'd probably like the Outfoxies by Namco if you like games where you can use everything you can see. Fighting a wasp again. I'm having flashbacks to other games. Fortunately, this is where I start to struggle. Although, that's one of the odd things in this game. If you fail a stage, you skip it. I can't think of many other games where you fail a stage and you skip it, but this one does that. Very unusual mechanic. Yeah, the backgrounds don't really fit the game, do they, R09? I mean, I guess if we're going... You're a houseplant. Maybe. Again, if I stood too close to something that doesn't die while throwing a bomb. Butter-san did get a sequel on the NES Famicom. I'm going to have to check that out. In fact, since I like Butter-san so much, I am pausing the game just to copy that comment into my list here so I can check that out after the stream so I don't forget it. Because, say, Butter-san is one of my favourite arcade games. So that is going in my notes. I don't know if there's a punishment for skipping the stages. I mean, maybe you can't get the best score if you do that or something. No, maybe it gives you a bad ending. I don't know. I've never really studied the game. I've played it more than most people have probably played it, which is why it wasn't initially in consideration for the streams. But I say I'm always happy to look at suggestions, and this was suggested yesterday. And we'll look at Joinem for you, Gerald, I think as well. After I die next time, well, next time I have to continue. Evening, Peter. Hope you're doing well. Thank you for joining. Oh, and there we go. That was Saboten Bombers by NMK. And yeah, say, okay, so Joinem vertical screen, I believe. So yeah, Joinem Global Corporation runs on the same driver as Jack the Giantkiller that we looked at earlier. And also the same driver as a game that Bob really likes if Bob was here. So Global Corporation. In fact, I think it's said that Uncle Pooh seems to share some code with this one. Let's join him, because Uncle Pooh says let's Uncle Pooh. So it's probably the same developers. But yeah, the idea is all the little guys move together. So if you press a direction, they all move in that direction, and you have to try and join them together to make them bigger. And if you do that, you can then chase the enemies. And if some of them will escape, some of them won't. The Outfoxies is a really good game. Oops. Yeah, if you move one of the little guys into the Green Devil, you lose a life. Or I think into any of the enemies you lose a life. So you have to keep your eyes all over the screen. And make sure you're not inadvertently moving anybody into a bad position. Most games aren't going to have translations unless they're popular enough. You did Bob, you did. You are here, I see. But yes, this is probably by the same developers as said smelly game. Well, you don't lose the life immediately. I thought you lost the life immediately upon contact, but you don't. Maybe if you've only got less than 3 of them left, and you can't actually kill the enemies, you lose a life. Hey Stephen, welcome. Thank you for joining. This game was discovered a few years ago. I mean, I think it's been a good 10 years or so now, maybe more. But time does fly these days. I can't remember if I added it to the drive or somebody else. Or do you mean you discovered it? I think I added it to the driver back in the day. Uh-oh. You did the ROM dump. Yeah, about 10 years ago. It has been a long time. It could even be more than 10 years. If I look at what was 10 years ago at this point, it feels a lot closer than it was. Uh-oh. But yeah, the games from this developer are quite rare, and I wonder if they got any more that haven't been discovered yet. They don't seem to a lot of them aren't fully credited either. Unfortunately, it's maybe a little bit too easy, because say, I'm not even losing lives at the moment. You have to get right down, I think, to 2 little guys before you lose a life. Yeah, it's very late done for an 82 game, you're right, Gerald. So yeah, if I lose... So I can lose that one. I'm fine. Lose that one. I think if I drop down to 2, I can't kill the enemies, can I? No, I can still... I don't know. Okay, drop down to 1. You can't finish the level. But you see, you start with so many of them, it's really difficult to actually lose a life. So that's probably the issue with this one. You can play it for far too long. You know, there don't seem to be meaningful ways to make the game more difficult. So, 83 apparently. But, buried in snow. So, yeah, Joinem, which Gerald dumped. So, thank you for the dump. It's always I have played this one before, and I think I added it to the driver back then, and it's a really interesting concept. I think I can see why it wasn't a huge success. It's a bit too easy for an arcade game, and you can spend ages on it without losing your lives. But so it's a nice one to have done. So thank you for that from 10 years ago. Yeah. Yes, Cow, it might be. It might be Cow. Right, so... Yeah, I do like it. I like Uncle Pooh too. I think they had some interesting ideas. And let's play one that Aussie guy mentioned yesterday. Also known as Shanghai Kid. This is Hokuha Syourin Hiryu no Ken. I'm sure that was absolutely perfect. There are rare games that are real, Tommy. That's not even a real game. We did play Cube Quest yesterday, which is kind of the closest equivalent. So this is the Japanese version, which was licensed to Taito. And this is an early fighting game. And it's noteworthy because most of the code, or a lot of the CPU code, is in a black box protection device, which was battery backed. And we're lucky to have it dumped. But it's a little like Yar Kung Fu. So we'll coin it up. Maybe a little like Karate Champ 2, a strategic combat game, more so than Street Fighter. So it's telling me how to play it, which I'm just ignoring because, you know, I always do. And then I wonder why I fail at games. Yes, Cube Quest is a very trippy game. Sorry, no bonus. Oh, that was a tutorial. I was meant to be doing something, not watching it. Excellent. It is a good game. You're right, Stephen. I'm surprised you didn't see it in a previous stream, but I guess that just shows that it's always worth playing things again, even that if I played in Vively, I played them quite often. Because I think I've played that on 3 or 4 streams, but they've clearly just been ones when you've not been here. But sometimes I play a game once and I think, well, I played that game. People have seen that on a Hidden Gem stream, and I never play it again. And that's probably a mistake. The first Haru no Ken game. What were the other ones? Oh, I was not paying attention. The music stopped. I don't know if the music's meant to stop, but the music has stopped. It feels like it's still a tutorial level and I'm still failing. Yeah, they are always fascinating, RO9. Most of them don't hold up well at all. But to see the different ways they were trying to do a fighting game, and a lot of them went for a slightly more serious style, slower paced. Obviously you've got ridiculous jumps that are entirely unrealistic, but I don't know how to do if I can even do them. But and it might be a case of the controls actually. I always forget that diagonals and second button is a bad idea, so MAME's default controls are pretty awful for a lot of games, to be honest. But I think if we change them now, it just confuse everybody. It's Neon Game Culture Brain's flagship franchise, started as a Taito game. Yeah, Taito did publish this one. You are right. You can just about see Taito on the title screen. Yes, it's rather like Yar Kung Fu, you're right, Peter. Although Yar Kung Fu plays a bit more, bit smoother. Maybe if I'd played the English version and actually read the instructions, I'd know more what I was doing. So it does seem to warn you where you're going to be attacked, so you get a chance to, well, do something about it. And then tells you where they're vulnerable, so... I can do a jump sometimes. I don't know how I'm doing this jump, but... Most arcade games run fast, to be fair. Very few don't run at 60 frames a second, at least the early ones. They tend to stand out when they don't. Things like Konami Jailbreak run quite badly, and Green Beret for some reason. What am I doing even though? The problem is the controls are really stiff. So it's meant to be strategic, but it just feels like you're not quite in control. Time over, and I lost because my bar was lower. So we will briefly put the English version on. I just wanted to load the Japanese version because the Japanese version does have the title of the series that Aussie guy was mentioning. Oh, there's a whole list there, is there? I'll have to check that list out at some point, Aussie guy. So yeah, the English version of that was called Shanghai Kid. Data East licensed this one, developed by Taiyo. Taito licensed it elsewhere. So this, yeah, practice. Okay, so this will actually tell me how to play it. So block is don't press button. So that's high attack. See, it's telling you how to where you're meant to be attacking. But I get no bonus anyway. So yeah, it does do the instructions in English on the practice mode. I wonder if Vertex will be ever dumped too. I have my doubts, Cow. I have my doubts. Chinese Hero is another one. Yeah, I played Chinese Hero on another stream. That's a good fun one, actually. A lot of people didn't seem to like it. I think it got a lot of... I think it was in the Jewel and Junk streams, and quite a lot of people said that one was junk, but I do quite like Chinese Hero. Alright, let's go with a bit of football. This is Human Amusement and Grand Striker 2. Kind of plays like IK Plus. IK Plus is a bit smoother too, but again, that was an early fighting game. IK Plus was actually really good for the time it was released too. I think that was a miscoloured human logo for a moment there. So this is Grand Striker 2. 2 because I still haven't figured out how to emulate the pitch in the first game. The zoom parameters and line parameters make no sense in terms of giving me a good looking pitch. So I'm playing Grand Striker 2, where the pitch was easier to emulate. So. Okay, I don't need to read the instructions. Let's be Wales. And choose the view. So you've got, unlike Grand Striker the original, you can go up and down, or you can go from side to side, side on view. Wales versus Scotland. Don't think we've got any Gareth Bales playing in this game. But, we'll see how Wales do. Now, note the advertising banners. They're advertising another game there. They're advertising Blazing Tornado, which is actually misspelled from the game we have at least, which is Blazing Tornado, which runs on the same hardware. Unless there's a Japanese version called Blazing Tornado, I think that's just a misspelling of the title. The replay is side on view. Wales should beat Scotland. Well, let's find out. No GP in the chat supporting Wales today.
Throw in.
The least enthusiastic sports commentator I've ever heard. I mean, at least Arnie in Your Face sounded like he was really into things. This commentator just sounds bored. goal.
Kick off.
Sounds very much like the Thunder Dragon 2 announcer, but
Throw in.
without the excitement. And throw in. Yeah, apparently Wales are beating Scotland quite easily.
Kick off.
But yeah, I remember adding this to the driver back in the day. It's a mix of Metro hardware, I think, with a Konami rotation layer. Unfortunately, there are some priority bugs. As you can see, the results are behind the screen, so at some point I need to actually go back and fix that, because it's been like that since it was added to MAME. There's some layer enable bugs and some priority bugs that need looking at. None which impact the gameplay, but they do impact some of those status screens between matches. And it does remind me, say, I played this when I added it, but then I've not actually gone back and fixed the bugs in it. And it's probably been a good 15 years, so maybe I should look into seeing if there's an obvious priority register. Hey Barry, thank you for subscribing. Good to see a fellow MAME dev subscribing. Oh, dirty France. But yeah, I think this is a football game that doesn't get played that often. Things like the Super Sidekicks games on the Neo do, but this one, not so much. And I'm not sure why, because it's fast, it's smooth. And it offers plenty of chances to score without feeling like you always have to do the same thing. Your players feel responsive and the goalkeepers aren't ridiculous. At least not early on. It probably gets a bit ridiculous. It's funny that Data East allowed Technos Japan a Neon game using the Taiyo system name on some project, yet refused to give credit to Plan on Performer. It happened so often though, didn't it? People weren't allowed to credit. People had to put Easter eggs in for their credits rather than proper credits. It's just an unfortunate part of the gaming industry. I think it goes way beyond just Data East. Also, Data East USA and Data East, the other parts of Data East probably had different policies. Shanghai Kids said Data East USA, presumably they made their own rules. Oh, look at that goal. Wales are now beating Brazil. I'm not going to spend too long on a football game anyway though. But I did want to highlight it as a football game that I think it's pretty enjoyable. I remember enjoying it when I added it, at least. I also enjoyed the original Grand Striker, but say I can't fix the playfield. It's one of those bugs in MAME, one of those things in MAME that I've looked at so many times and failed to implement so many times. I'm just going to be really glad when somebody actually figures it out. If they ever do. The music is just a 3-second loop. Yeah, I mean, I'm not playing football for the music. It would probably help, but it's more. I think it's more about the sound effects from the crowd and everything else. You kind of just filter the music out. It does seem to change up a bit, but it is just a short loop, yeah. That's not really where I wanted the ball to go. Wales beat Brazil too. Good run for Wales this. But I think Wales's run may be interrupted by a sudden power cut. They will not be beating Denmark in the semi-final. The game will be quit out of. You got your old account back, did you, Extreme Rec? How did you manage that? YouTube aren't always the best at getting accounts back if there's a problem. Twitter are worse, apparently. But anyway, I think that's an overlooked football game. The Hat Trick Hero Football Champ gets played more. Super Sidekicks gets played more. That one, I don't know. Don't see people talking about it. But it was advertising a different game while it was running. So let's have a look at that game. The game that was on the advertising boards was Blazing Tornado. Yeah, that's Extreme Rec's 2000th account. I mean, they're saying original account, but it's actually their 2000th account. So this runs on the same hardware. And it is a wrestling game. Look at those pixels. So the actual title screen says Tornado with an O. The advertising banners in the previous game had Tornade with an E. The voice there seemed to say it's saying Tornade with an E. I don't know if there's a Japanese version with Tornade, but this is the version that's dumped. Of course, as is tradition, I'm not going to actually learn how to play it. I'm just going to mash some buttons. All 4 of them. So there's actually 4 players. Or there's just 4 player inputs for no reason. I don't know. I've never tried to play it with more than... Oh, it's 4 players. There's 4 insert coin things at the top. Let's be purple masked guy. So I don't know if this has any priority bugs like Grand Striker did, but we'll find out, I guess. This is the Heroic Wrestling Federation. Yeah, Mad Dancing would be a nice one to see done, but I don't know if we'll ever see it. Humans' quality is generally pretty good, I have to admit. I mean, they're more known for games on other systems rather than arcades, but their few ventures into the arcade always seem like they're well done games. So I don't know why the Mad Fighting and that F1 game they did as well all got cancelled. Maybe they just had high standards and weren't happy with them. Ow. Ow. Human is definitely not a subsidiary of Facebook, now Meta. Unfortunately, you do have to know how to play it, so I should have read the instructions. Oh, close up. That's probably a bad thing. That probably means that was a powerful move. Oh, well, I got out of the way. I can run with that button. Uh-oh. Plays like Fire Pro, it should be timing based. Well, that's me done. Timing. I don't know what I've never heard of it. Hey, I'm not even in the ring anymore. Hey, are you back in the ring? I think I might have lost. I am just bad on this one, yeah. You can call me bad. I lose. This is why I haven't played this one much. Use B to attack when they're down. You do have to know what the controls are, which probably means reading the tutorials. But you get plenty of button mashy sounds when I'm playing this. Let's have a look at one of the other fighters. It's 3 buttons according to that, so I don't know why there's 4 in the definition. That's exactly why people are here, isn't it, Bob? For my amazing gameplay. I'm sure I've seen this font somewhere else too. I don't know where. The insert coin, the yellow to red, orangey fade. Okay, I really do need to learn how to play the game. Or just put like auto fire on or something. That would help. Probably. Plug in options, auto fire, add auto fire button, import. Yep. I mean, admittedly, I'm not doing much. Hey, he's got a plank of wood. That's not fair. I don't want to get back into the ring, thank you. Oh. Sudden death. I like sudden death. Sudden death sounds fun. Sudden death wasn't fun. Well, I was good at the wrestling game, wasn't I? Perfect play by me. But yeah, I never see anybody play this one. Obviously, I see people play plenty of wrestling games. They usually talk about WrestleFest, Superstars, or Slam Masters, or even the Fire Pro games that were mentioned on the consoles. But this arcade game from Human, despite being really well presented, seems to always get overlooked. I think it seems like it's a good game. There's plenty of features, in and out the ring, weapons, lots of different moves. I can't tell you for sure if it is, but it always gives me a good impression. I could rebrand the channel as Sudden Death. I think that might be a bad idea. Right. Okay. What do I want to play next? I played that. Let me just reorganise my list a little bit here. Because I want to take out ones I've played. So I can play ones I've not played, which, you know, is somewhat logical. Okay, shall we play a bit of tile matching, everybody's favourite. You'll send me an email within a few days. Alright, Gerald, I've got my email address at the moment. It's not changed in many years. So hopefully you've got one that works. If not, you can, if you can't get through to me on email, you can find me on, say, the comments here or on Twitter. Anyway, this is World Adventure by Logic. This is a fairly recent dump. It runs on Hyperstone hardware. Unfortunately, apparently it does still randomly lock up. And I do wonder if maybe there's a ROM fault or something, because there are some odd glitches in it that look like maybe there's a bit of memory corruption going on, but I'm not sure. Now, as far as I know... Oh, it's a bit loud. The content is clean. It has some models, but they don't strip off. But the idea is you move your character to behind a piece, then you click on the piece, and you click where you want to push the piece to. Oh, that was a bit too far. So it doesn't really work like your traditional tile matching game, because you are actually controlling a character, so you push the pieces around. Yes, that's a completely unlicensed Pac-Man down there. Got Turbo now. Good to know, Tommy. I mean, it's say the plugins are quite interesting, and there's some other plugins you can download that other people have done. I think there's even a hitbox viewer for Street Fighter 2, and a plugin that makes Nibbler play itself, and maybe I think Robotron too. Now, if you push a piece that's next to a piece that's already matched, it matches all the pieces together. So push that to there. Let's see, that works. You have to be careful sometimes though to make sure you don't clear pieces where there's not going to be anything to match with them. So where's the equivalent to this one? I have turned the recompiler off for playing this, just in case it helps. There's only 2 of those, aren't there? So I can easily just do that. Oh no, there was a... No, I hope I've not messed that up now. I may have messed that up now. Push that back and it will disappear. There are, of course, multiple ways to clear each level, but considering how simple this is, the puzzles do get really quite complex. You can clear that off there. Push that up. And you end up with multiple heights on later levels too. And if you don't leave a way for you to climb up the the higher levels, then obviously you can't push pieces off the higher levels. It really starts to do a lot of quite clever things once you get into it. I do know that tile matching games aren't everybody's cup of tea, but I did think this one was worth showing because it's a recent dump, which means not many people have played it yet. See, that's what I mean. There was a random little glitchy thing next to my character just above it, and then on the corner there when that was vanishing. And it makes me wonder if it's writing bad sprites or just corrupting memory randomly. Racing Hero. That was on my potential shortlist for the stream. And see you, Gerald. Take care. Good. Thank you for dropping by. Always good to see you. If you fancy dropping by another time, you will always be welcome. So what's the strategy on this one? I feel I'm being tricked, lured into a false sense of security here. Oh no, as long as I push them in alternate directions, we should be fine. Now this is one that I can imagine Bob quite liking. You don't push them against the edge, that's always a bad idea. So what I want to do is push that up here. It does require a lot of clicks to do anything though, so you can tell it to push things when you're on it as long as there's space for it to do it. But yeah, the pieces only vanish when you push them together, so some of the levels like this one and the previous one do have them together to start with. At least it's not Super Real Mahjong from Solitaire from CA Mobile. Never played that. Has the fantasy warning siren. But yeah, apparently this crashes after about 20 minutes. It could be a Hyperstone bug. Typically only the ones using the when the recompiler was on would crash, but people have said this one crashes even without the recompiler. So I don't know. That's why it's marked as not working. Anyway, you get the idea. It does get more complex. Some of the levels actually become really creative. As far as I know, the content remains family friendly. It's just models rather than nudes. Maybe there's an undone set with nudes, as typically is the case with these things. But yeah, that's World Adventure. And I think it's a nice take on the tile matching genre. And Racing Hero. Alright, Racing Hero was on my list. I'm not going to be too good at it on keyboard. But we can have a little look at Racing Hero, as mentioned in the chat by Tommy. Because, yeah, Racing Hero, of the Sega sprite scalers, is probably one of the more overlooked ones. It looks more like a Taito game, than a Sega game, this one. Even some of the fonts are quite Taito-like. Unfortunately, one of the things I always find with this game is there's no real sense of speed. It is full speed, this is how it runs, but it just feels a little bit slow. Also, it doesn't really use the road layer for a road, it uses sprites, which is something Sega would do more of later on System 32, and obviously earlier on the Y board. But that is because the Y board was meant to do that. And, whereas the X board here, we probably should have been using, I think, other techniques. Yeah, to me this does feel like a game Taito would have developed, not Sega. I can't put my finger on why, but I've always felt that way about this one. I mean, I would have played Capcom Slipstream in these streams, but that seems to be getting a lot of attention lately, and people are actually realising it's a good game. ICOM, I think they did it with Sammy. ICOM the ones that did Polestar. Yeah, I'm doing nearly, I'm doing 240 kilometers an hour, but I don't ever feel like I'm going fast in this one. I think that's the downfall of this game. It's not a bad game though, it's still really enjoyable. And it's a bit easier. Oops. Now I think it is one of those games where one crash and you've failed, unfortunately. But that's probably where the difficulty comes from. Maybe Jesus up there can bless me past the finish line. But probably not if I'm going to do that. Do you think this is a 10 out of 10 game? I mean, I don't really want to spend too long on it. But yeah, that was Racing Hero. If I do another racing stream, I'll probably play more of that one. I'm going to do another Sega racing game though that I think does get overlooked. Very outrun-like track layout here. Didn't get very far, but I really needed to get to the London bus down there, didn't I? Oop. And copyright symbol, because that's the most logical thing to have in a set of initials. Right, I'm going to look at a different one that I think does get overlooked. The Power Drift Link version, which doesn't link up in MAME, but is still kind of interesting. The reason I think this is interesting is A, the course is different, B, the rotation effect is disabled in software in game. It only works when it only does the rotation when you crash. And C, it's a much slower pace. So if we're talking about slower paced games, then this version of Power Drift. Also, it's automatic gear only for the gameplay, which is kind of odd. You use the gear to select things on the menu, but in game the gear does absolutely nothing. But this is meant to be linked against, I think, up to 8 other cabinets. There's that jump in the track there. But, you just see how much slower pace this is though, and a lot of people say Power Drift is too fast, too difficult to see what's going on, but without the rotation and without the faster pace, it's actually pretty easy to see what's going on, and also you don't have to finish in the top 3 in this one. You just have to not finish last, I think. Because usually if I'd finished 4th, that would have been game over. But this is really meant for tournaments, I think. It's really odd that it is automatic only, so the gear does nothing. Yeah, it acknowledges the gear stick because you use it to select something in the menu. It's a very odd version of Power Drift. It'd be nice to see MAME emulate the Link emulation one day, but Link feature, but at the moment it doesn't. But yeah, if you wanted a more casual version of Power Drift that still has the roller coaster tracks, and you say still has the rotation when you crash there, but maybe you can just play it more casually and enjoy it. I have covered this on stream before, but I still think it's overlooked. I never see anybody else cover this or play this. And personally, I always go and play the proper version because I like the speed and I like the rotation, but no, it's not as frantic in this version. You're right, Stephen. The Saturn version of Power Drift was developed by Fant for Sega in Japan only. Yeah, unfortunately, the Power Drift on the Saturn does only run at 30 frames a second, doesn't it? It's not as smooth as the arcade. It's a good port, but it's still a bit lacking. Still not playing very well. I think you have to be 5th or more in this race. I think that's what the 5 at the top is telling me. If I go below 5th, I lose. So, 5th at the moment. Yeah. Now I'm 6th and now 7th. That's bad. You do really want a steering wheel, unfortunately. even with the easier gameplay. And yes, it's saying final lap, Cam, if you haven't heard. Uh-oh. Yeah, I'm not going to make it. I finished 6th, so that's game over. There is a main Discord, but it's generally closed off because there was an influx of basically people trolling Wolfaz. So yeah, this is a less frantic version of Power Drift that lets you play for a bit longer and can apparently be linked up, but not in MAME because the link hardware is not emulated. But yeah, it gets massively overlooked, that one. Let's move a few up here that we've now looked at. Right. Yeah. This is quite a popular game in some circles, but it's one that everybody seems to forget the name of. So I don't think it gets covered as much as it could do. This is Kuri Kinton from Taito, an 88 game. Playing it, I'd expect this looks more like a game from maybe 86, but it's a little later than that. Suzuka 8 hours is pretty much perfect. Yes, Tommy. I mean, we've played it quite a few times on stream. But yeah, this is another very Kung Fu Master style game. You'll see. And everybody goes, you know, what was the game? The red guy who comes onto the screen on a bike at the start and launches fireballs like some Street Fighter character, and it's this game, Kuri Kinton. And it's really well animated. Yeah, I said it does, Tommy. You played this on Taito Legends. So yeah, people may know it from Taito Legends. It's not completely obscure, but I think it does get forgotten. At least people have a vague memory of it and just don't know what it was. So you can go down on the left, which is what it's telling you to do. You've got all this animation movement, a little slide when you stop moving. I can just go down, can't I? Bit samey. I mean, it is a little bit, but so was Kung Fu Master, and everybody loves Kung Fu Master. Also, I'm doing terribly at this. It's telling me to pinch my heart too. The Japanese version has voice samples. Maybe I should have played the Japanese version then. Yeah, this is it's quite simple. Maybe, as mentioned, you should check out the Japanese version. Well, a lot of people did really enjoy this one. I don't know how you do the fireball, if you can do a fireball in game then. It's not one I've played personally, which is again why it's on this stream. It's just one I've seen people ask about a lot, and this it's come up as the name, so it's one I thought I should maybe try and play. This is on Arcade Archives too, is it? Ah. Vigilante had more variety. I don't really like Vigilante. I think it's very slow and stiff, Carlo. Ow. I got shoulder bodged. I don't know why it's telling me to pinch heart now. Ready Player One. Not Kajiki today. I might do Kajiki on a dedicated Taito stream. This has really good music composed by Masahiko Takagi and Yasuhisa Watanabe. I'm not very good with the names. Watanabe. The names I recognise, I just never actually pronounce them. Which is always a problem I have on streams. It's like I read the names in my head, but I just recognise the names by how they look. I don't even pronounce them in my head. So when I actually have to say them out loud, it's like, I don't know. I don't know what he was saying because it was still in Japanese, and my character now wants to walk into a wall. Now he's found the lift. Reminds you of Tiger Road. Tiger Road's probably another one I need to play more of. That's quite a famous game I've never really played much of either. Fall down. Nope. Fortunately, for as good as the animation is, sometimes it does feel lacking, like when you fall down there. It didn't seem to have an animation for that situation. Are you back? Got rid of you. Well, I hope that water didn't hurt me, because I had no way of knowing there was water there. Blind death drops after you've just had to drop down to other things is a bit unfair. It still has the Japanese text at the boss. I mean, a lot of people consider that quite bad, like they've not completely localised it. But, it does kind of mean it feels like it's set in Japan and it's more of a Japanese game, but a lot of people play the English versions because they want a localisation, not just to see the Japanese text. There's also a prototype of this in MAME, which I seem to remember has quite a few differences, but this isn't the compare prototype stream. But yeah, Kuri, Kinton. Yeah, Tiger Road I've heard good things about, so maybe I'll have to play that one on another stream. Unless the world version is a hack, but I think it's just a lazy localization. Right, let's go shopping. If I can find the set name. Here we go. Dream Shopper, 1982 Sanritsu. Well, I think it's a 1 byte different from the Japanese set, so it's the same code as the Japanese set, although there is a prototype version that is very different. But a lot of people did distribute or just hack the Japanese versions with the region hack and put them on boards, and sometimes even print fake Taito labels on them. It's a bit of a mess. Anyway, this is Dream Shopper, where apparently you're in a store full of where the lights aren't turned on and there's frogs hiding beneath tiles. So yeah, Dream Shopper with a rainbow coloured logo. My pressing goal is 10,000. Now, where the blank spaces are, there are holes. They're in really dark red in the playfield. So, yeah, if I walk up again, I'll fall in a hole. But yeah, you have to try and memorise where the expensive items were and find them. sometimes there are frogs which uncover other items of the same colour in that row or column. And then if you go into the... Oh, yeah, there's a hole there. In dark red. There's a dip switch to turn off... This is why you shouldn't go shopping in the dark. There's a dip switch to turn off the messages, so I guess US operators were probably told just to turn off the message. So it's nice that it's there and isn't forcefully turned off. This is shopping in the dark, which apparently is the dream way to go shopping. So I've got my pressing goal is 10,000. So yeah, if I realise where the 500s are, that's a good start. So I may as well get the other ones on the way. I think that there's some 500s around here. If you get the apple, it tells me where some others are briefly, so I can try and go for the higher points. And I can also go and get try to. Yeah, it is quite bizarre. So I'm actually gonna. I didn't get to see that. So there's a 500 up here, a 500 here. Uh-oh. I played this better earlier when I was briefly trying it. I only did 200 to complete the level though, and there's 200 worth here. So there we go. I got my 10,000. I got a bit of a bonus. Now this is apparently Act 1, where you're now collecting various items, or you're trying to, and take them to the lady at the top. So yeah, I'll try and actually complete the second round this time. So where are the good points? They're on the left-hand side mostly. But it's a kind of test of memory, while also being a maze game. The concept is completely illogical. I don't know what the frog... I don't think it indicates where the frogs are until you find them. And I don't think the enemies go through the tunnel, so you can escape that way. If you're quick enough, because that one's getting fast. Oh, take care, Stephen, if you're off. Hopefully you've seen some more games you like. It sounds like you have. I'm off down a hole. My goal is to complete the second act, the second level. I have to get there first. I think there's enough good ones on the top row here. There we go. So I get a shoe, I get a ring, and then I make a run for it, and I'm too slow. I swear this was easier earlier. Don't worry, everybody's confused, Bob. Right, so there's a lot of good ones up there. It's just a game about shopping in the dark and getting gifts for yeah, that was terrible. My play, not the game. The game is somewhat interesting in a train wreck kind of way. That's a bit unfair, really. I mean, it actually plays alright if you know what you're doing and know what to expect. Yeah, when you get the thing in the middle, the enemies do run away briefly too, so that's also a strategy. There we go. There we go. I only got 3 of the items, not all 4, but apparently that's good enough to get some points. And now we're back to the shopping stage, but this time we're getting different shopping. Also note the bombs in there. They explode. Look, we're getting trainers now? I don't know. A bomb there. Now I'm a terrorist. Well, apparently all the things in the dark survive at the bomb attack, although I don't survive walking down a hole. Can you grab the enemies when they flash? I've not tried. Maybe I should try. Not like that though. Red Selector is the working title. Do we know if a version called Red Selector was ever released? Anyway, let's try the thing in the middle and grab enemies. Maybe I wonder if you can blow them up with a bomb too. Maybe that's one way to do crowd control, is to blow up the enemies. It is a little bit annoying when I set off bombs when just shopping, yeah. Also, it's annoying when I run down holes when shopping. It's a real health and safety. I kind of want it to be like Blockbusters, the game show, where if I link across, I get a bonus, but I really don't. I should get a bonus for going all the way across like that. Yes, you can catch them. It might have killed the enemy, but I killed myself in the process. So I can pretty much guarantee most people haven't played this one. The first time I played this one was today when I was researching for the stream, because I just wanted to make sure that there were there was no inappropriate content, because obviously after the second round, when you're going and taking rings and presents to a girl at the top, it may have resulted in some scene I wouldn't have wanted to see on stream, but I didn't find one in the brief time I played the game. But that was Dream Shopper, if that is your dream and you like shopping. I don't think it's too bad. I think it's an interesting concept. A bit of a test of memory, action maze game. A nice little mix. I've played worse. Maybe it gets a bit dull after a while. Let's play worse. Let's go back to Century Electronics and Hunchback Olympic. I hope you like flashing colours.
Game system operational.
I should play Steelworker. I don't know if I've played that on stream before. I have played it before. A bit like Lemmings. So, Hunchback was such a success that there were spin-off games. This is one of them. This is Hunchback Olympic. Now, it's fair to say Hunchback isn't actually great in the first place, but was picked up by everybody here. And therefore, what else to do with the Hunchback IP that is now so popular, but to make a sports game. I'm using a keyboard just buggy. I do have an Xbox One pad that I use for some games, but for the most part I play on keyboard for the streaming. So let's play Hunchback Olympic. So that was a false start. I mean, you hear plenty of tapping keyboard noises when I'm streaming. But yes, Hunchback, obviously known for his athleticism. Is now an 8-track and field type game. Dark Warriors was the first game, was it? Cosmos is listed as one of the early ones in MAME, but honestly, I don't know what's going on now. I think I was meant to mash buttons and I wasn't paying attention. It tells me the best angle is 45 degrees though. Not 50 degree. Player 1, game over. Let's give it another go, because this is obviously an excellent game. Oh no, not meant to mash yet.
On your mark.
I meant to wait for it to tell me with the speech. Extra sound effects from the keyboard. And everybody shows their appreciation by colour cycling. I think the hardware is just slow, unfortunately. Is there actually any... No, I mashed the buttons. What? Honestly, I don't know. This isn't even the event it gave me second last time. I think the game just runs slow. I mean, the CPU, as far as I know, the timings are right. It's just they're just horribly badly programmed games. Nope, I think I was meant to hold it locked down for longer because that's 15 degrees. Shall we give it one more try? CVS's fantastic Hunchback Olympic here. It's strange that it tells you the angle you're meant to get it at, and they announce it on the stadium display, the exact angle of jump. Okay. That was quite a long jump in the sand. Now I've got shot put. Oh, I guess I meant to press the button to throw it before I get there again. Yes, a better track and field clone is Field Day. You are right, Aussie guy. I just wanted to show this because everybody says Hunchback is terrible. Hunchback Olympic is worse. But that is not where we end with Hunchback. For he had another game. This one just called Hero. But clearly the same universe. Speaking of button mashing games, you fixed the Famicom Family Trainer mat games, and that should be in the next release. That's from Bob. Yes, I saw that. So if you do like Family Trainer button mashing pad games, then on the NES, then yes, take a look at the next main release because those are now playable. Thanks to Bob. Yeah, Hunchback. The console versions, the computer version is more fun. The arcade version is awful, and many of the unofficial clones are better too. We could do an entire stream on Hunchback clones. But yeah, this is clearly the Hunchback universe because it's got Esmeralda and it's got this green guy who's obviously put on a bit of weight. Now, like Pac-Man, you do keep moving in the direction until you change, but when you move down the screen, it looks like you're sliding down the screen, which makes sense until you realise you can just walk up the screen. So you slide down like you're falling if you press down, but then you walk up normally. The difference on the ladders is you can move up and down freely. It doesn't move automatically, and I don't think enemies go on the ladders. But why the ladders when you can move up anyway? They partially worked before. So say Esmeralda at the top with 2 Zs. And you know, your little Esmeralda timer down there. All her clones disappear the longer you spend in the maze. The Scramble Hunchback. It's a little bit ugly, but it does play better than the original, yes. It's not very exciting, no. Partially, but work means unplayable. Yes, it tends to. Well, now we get a little tune. Beware of arrows. So just in case you weren't sure it was a Hunchback tie-in, it now fires arrows from the side of the screen at you, just like in Hunchback. They did milk the mascot a bit. I mean, it was their only massive successful game, I think, so they just wanted to try and build on that. Now, apparently, you're on the way. That didn't seem correct. I think we're missing an apostrophe there. That almost got me. For a British game, the grammar isn't great. Everything slows down these CVS games. It's just really weak hardware. It's probably good that it slows down the game, actually. Gives you... Well, I was never going to avoid that. I mean, I guess they were going for at least it looks better than a game on a Spectrum. But yeah, this isn't great, is it? I can see why people don't play it. No, us English are terrible at English. This appears to be the hero we didn't want and definitely didn't need. From CVS in 84. Yeah, 84. It wouldn't even be passable in 81, really, this. Yeah, I think we've seen enough of that. But we had to play them. Because I said we had to play them, wanted to play them. Let's move them out of here. And we are on 2 hours and 21 minutes. And shall we have a brief look at a game that was mentioned in the chat, which we have played a few times. Suzuka 8 Hours 2. Not Final Lap Cow. I think a lot of people don't play this in MAME because, as was mentioned in the chat, it's been badly emulated for a long time. It was fixed a few months ago. So, I'll give it a lap. I should have probably turned mouse support on, but... I'm just teasing Cow now by not playing Final Lap. But you see, nice engine sound that we fixed a few months ago, and sound when you go off road. I'm not going to play this for long. Just going to play one credit on it. This is very smooth, yeah. They've got the road engine working really well by this point. Casio signs. not Casio PV1000 size. The engine sound before was not pleasant. In fact, you just played the whole game to an off-key buzz that was really nasty. It just made you want to quit the game immediately, so I can kind of see why people weren't playing this in MAME, and if they're not aware of the improvements, maybe still aren't. It does have that really lovely day-night cycle, hence being Suzuka 8 hours. It's over the course of 8 hours. Or less than 8 hours if you crash like that. The tunnel graphics hold a bit better now too because the sprite buffering's implemented. So visually it's more solid than it used to be as well. Not on this track as noticeable because this track doesn't have the big tunnel. It only has the bridge here. There we go, we've got some stars out now. Yeah, Kale fixed it. I think it was Kale. It was when all the other final lap fixes were happening. Quite familiar with those boards. WC Le Mans had a good day-night cycle. It did indeed. So yeah, I've played this one a fair bit on stream, but I think other people may not have done. So there you go. It's got sound that is actually reasonable now. We'll move on to something else. Let's go with that one. Let's go with a version differences case. Flyboy 82 Kaneko. Very red, green, blue title screen we have here. Almost looks like a placeholder title screen, to be honest. But Flyboy by Kaneko, which this title screen tells you nothing about the game. It wasn't a rewrite, Mr. Outer Heaven. It was a bug fix recently. Riding Hero is not a very good game compared to that, I think. But that's just my opinion. So, Flyboy. This has an odd control scheme. You feel at first it feels like you can't go up and down, but then you realise you do go up and down just very, very slowly, and you sort of bounce up and down. And your attack is really short range. You attack like that, by kicking your legs, which to me isn't a very safe thing to do, but that's what you do. Flying Pizza Boy. This is the new pizza delivery service coming your way. Also, not a fan of aircraft. And you do collect the bonus flags to get bonus points. Obviously, train smoke is frozen, it doesn't move. Oh look, we appear to have some sort of day-night cycle here too. Landing time. There we go. I've landed. What a background colour. Now, birds are the enemy. Hey Christian, thank you for joining. I hope you're doing well. Welcome to the stream. We are playing a bit of Kaneko's Flyboy at the moment. Where we glide across tropical islands, kick birds out the sky. Well, on the previous level we were kicking jets out of the sky, but this time we've decided, oh no, we get some more jets to kick out the sky. Excellent. Or in the case of not kicking, they take you out the sky. Sounds like Puyan. You missed the previous stream. I really enjoyed yesterday's stream actually. I wasn't so fond of the first of the 3 streams, but yesterday's stream I had a really good time. But I think we've covered some good games in all of them. And some bad games. Don't forget. Yeah, don't crash into boats. So this is Kaneko's Flyboy. Now, I said this was one of those compare the different version cases, and this was also known as under the title Fast Freddie, which is the Atari name. Now, this has an actual title screen telling you the scoring. Look, you've got your 30 points for the planes, 50 for the helicopters, 100 for the flags. This is Atari's licensed version. It doesn't have that red, green, blue title screen. It has a proper screen that tells you all the scores. What's up with the red ball on the title screen? I think it's just an effect. I think that's just how they want it to look. Now, the thing you immediately notice with Fast Freddy is it's really fast. Compared to Flyboy, the speed has been massively ramped up on this one. Kaneko does Sky Skipper. Yeah, I was tempted to play Sky Skipper actually. Yeah, Atari clearly thought the game was far too slow. So you end up with this, which is ridiculous. But it also means your attack barely lasts a fraction of a second. So timing your attacks is much trickier with this speed. But it does make it more challenging. Also, you do have a kick meter, so you can't just spam it all the time. Yeah, the kicks are too fast. The fact they've sped the game up, and they clearly intentionally sped the game up because they've called it Fast Freddy. They put fast in the title. So I don't think this is an emulation problem. I think they genuinely sped it up. So I think when people play games that are a little bit like this, they tend to go for Namco's Sky Kid, which obviously doesn't play much like this, but is a flying right to left game. This is unique in the sense that you are on a glider, but this Atari version is actually much less fun, just because you can't reliably kick things with it being so fast. I mean, if you're good at the game, I'm sure you can, but you have to get your timing spot on. I'm guessing, for some reason, I think the drive is actually named Fast Freddy, even though Fast Freddy is just Atari's clone of the game. But it's one of those old drivers. It's got all sorts of games in. But, yeah, I'm not convinced by the changes that were made to this one. It's nice to have a score screen and not what looked like the placeholder title screen Kaneko had. But it doesn't play as well because it's too fast. I mean, if it started off slower and got faster towards the end of the round, might make sense. If it made your kicks last a bit longer, it might make sense. The combination of faster and short kicks, it doesn't work for me. But it's if you've not seen the differences and you want to check them out, then why not? Why not? I can't remember if this is horizontal or vertical. I think it's horizontal. Let's go back to a bit of racing. Let's go for Taito's Kickstart Wheelie King. Unrelated to the home computer Kickstart games, this is a Taito bike racing game, which has 3 gears and a button. I think the button's probably just the accelerator. So, yeah, probably one of Taito's least famous racing games is Kickstart Wheelie King. Traverse USA Rally. Rally Bike's a potential one, although I play quite a lot of bike games now. This was not meant to be the biker stream. I don't know if I'm into collecting, so I'm just avoiding everything and crashing. Nobody's going to want to play Hang On after this. This came out in '84. Going to first gear instantly slows you down if you were to want to do that. Let's go Kickstart Wheelie King. I'm not aware of any ability to do wheelies in it, unless I'm missing something. Final bike. Jolly little tune, but and the road changes colours when you get near the edge, so that you know not to crash, which is quite intelligent for a road to do actually. Never seen a real road do that. Goal. It doesn't have anywhere near as much gameplay as Enduro Racer, sadly. It's a very basic game from what I can tell. Yeah, so that you barely have to spend any time in the lower gears, so as soon as you're in third gear, there's very little reason to ever change down a gear. So, obviously I'm not doing especially well. It does have a protection MCU, but the protection MCU is dumped in emulators, so it's not like this thing's missing due to the protection as far as I can tell. Though maybe I should down gear then, but downshifted then. But. I don't know if this was maybe marketed at kids rather than a regular game. It feels almost like it could have been in terms of the gameplay. It is that simplified, but maybe at the time they thought any racing game with a perspective would sell because it was a bit different. But, so it just seemed very, very simple. Obviously, the guy gets this confused with Kick Rider. I think Kick Rider is a better game. And Kick Rider actually makes sense having kick in the title. This has got both the words kick and wheelie in the title, despite the fact the game doesn't seem to have either kicking or wheeling. It's just road race. Unfortunately, I'm not going to make this track because I crashed too often. But I don't think it's going to change it much anyway. Retire on the second heat. But yes, there's also Shot Rider, which is very similar to the others. They have different crash animations. A very ugly looking title screen, which is probably correct. I mean, the SJ hardware is generally well understood. I think it's just a very basic early-ish Taito game. 84, we were definitely approaching the time when there were far better racing games on the market. A Z80, I think. Yeah, 2 Z80s and a 68705 for production. On the SJ platform. It's not bad if you want a simple racing game. You could probably give this one to kids. It's the thing that it doesn't have is automatic gears, but still, I think a kid could handle this one quite easily. Interestingly, the actual title screen with the Taito text is blank, and then it comes up with this text, this screen. It was released by Romstar in 85. 85, the market would have been a bit more crowded. I don't know if this is a Romstar version. There's no Romstar copyright displayed. Hit detection, no hit, normal gain. Control. Oh, you can control 3 positional switch your 2 buttons. I guess you can turn the gear stuff off then or something. There you go. Kickstart Wheelie King. An early Taito racing game. That I've not played much of because it just seemed too simple, to be honest. Let's move that out of the way. One that I probably never played coming up next. Or at least not to my memory. Orca's Net Wars. Looks very futuristic. A lot of these early Orca games are very basic. So, let's see. It's like Amidar, but I'm not painting lines. I'm shooting things. The sound is truly horrendous. I think it's meant to sound all futuristic, like the beginning of a space movie or something. It just sounded bad. Is it reverse tank force? No. You know, for a game called Net Wars, I was expecting a bit more. Try again. Maybe I've played it and just completely forgotten it. What's Oh, I gone into space. I feel it wants to be a really fancy sci-fi offering with that type of music. It's a bit like some kind of Tron thing. Are these sounds right? I guess they're right. I think they're meant to be drawn out. I think it's trying to do that whole, space thing, but I can't tell you for sure. I've never heard an original. I've never seen an original. Could check the clocks, I guess. 2 Z80s and an AY. Nothing fancy about the sound hardware. Nothing fancy about the game. Go into space again. I mean, maybe it's an emulation glitch. You know, the first thing I did on the stream was blame Jaleco for getting the teams wrong on In Your Face on the dunking, and that just turns out to be a priority glitch. Good. I want to go back into space. Maybe I didn't want to go back into space. It's 4 directions too, by the way, so you can't go in diagonals. Just in case you're wondering. Cabal Mark III thinks this looks cool. I will reserve judgment until I've played one more credit. Honestly, if anybody's got real footage of this and can tell me if these sound effects are right, let me know. But it kind of feels like they probably are, and they're just being a bit pretentious or something. That's my impression. I don't understand why you got this space and not space. It's like the enemies seem to come out here, or they actually... I guess the enemy count is how many enemies you have to destroy. It's just got so many pointless ideas in it. Like the switching route. You can't wrap. Can I get back inside? Or once I'm out, I'm out. I can't get back in. Apparently. So, why would I want to be on the grid when my movement is severely restricted? And things shoot at me in this section and they don't in the other. Can somebody please tell me what the... This feels like it shouldn't have been released. Then back to this level, the second level. So you don't have to leave the grid at all from what I can tell. You can shoot everything just in here if you want to. And it seems better to just go around the edge because the maze of the grid is just confusing. Unless there's some time punishment from you just doing... Oh, well, I died anyway. I don't think it's very good. So many of these early Orca games are kind of bad. I think that's another one that's kind of bad. So, yeah. Anyway, one that was mentioned last stream. This is kind of interesting, this one. 99 The Last War by Crooks. Yeah, it's very Amadar-like on that screen, Carlo. So 99 The Last War. This is a licensed version to Proma with a story of the great nation of Aquila. And, yeah. So, this is a shooter. You've got your weapon, you've got a shield. Using your shield drains your energy. Got some nice explosions. Move up and down, it scrolls a little bit left and right. Fairly standard patterns. Game of your childhood, 99 on the last one. Yeah, this seems to have been a strangely popular game. Lots of people remember it. Which is interesting because Aussie guy was saying that the company that made it went bankrupt while they were making it. Now, no, there's no music in the background here. That's another important thing to note for when we have a look at some of the versions in a bit. And this background on the first stage, this planetscape thing. Now we get bouncing enemies coming over the horizon at us. You move very slowly. Space rats, I think. Tatsura Yumura did the sound, making the sound effects on this. Reports 19 on the last war. Oh. Silence. You can shoot the bullets, as you just saw there. Now we get some music. Actually, I was playing this early on, I turned the cheat on, so I can't actually die. I don't know if that immediately takes effect, but yeah. So then you get the second stage, which looks like this. With different attack patterns, and yeah, this is the game. So you got your shield button on the second, you can attack. So it's a bit like Phoenix, you've got your shield. But that's about where the similarities end. There's a second set of this, set 2. Looks similar. Same story. You recently watched a bit of 2001: A Space Odyssey last night. Kind of serious, bit weird. Yeah, it's... I can't remember that much about it. I think I got the sheet on this one too because I was playing it earlier. Now note the first stage is different. Other than that, all the backgrounds are the same, but this first stage background on this version is different. Also, you don't have a shield, you have this rapid fire. Your shield's gone, you have a rapid fire attack instead. So this is a case of a different looking clone. Now this background's actually kind of boring. But maybe some people prefer it. You're starting on a planet, your home planet, more Earth-like rather than a moon. I think some of the attack patterns are a bit different too on this stage. They did the music for Tiger Heli, Twin Cobra, Doggy and Outzone, Hellfire and Zero Wing 2. So they've done some good compositions. Anyway, so this is the second set of it. Now, a set that was dumped a few years ago is this so-called bootleg set, which was added. Unfortunately, it's got bad colours on the first stage, which, once again, is different. Same story. Now, this set was dumped by Showtime. Think about MAME 0.192. I added it. But I thought this odd coloured background here was probably due to a difference in the bootleg hardware, maybe video banking. But I've been looking at it today, and I'm pretty sure this needs the proper colour proms dumping. All the other sets do use the same colour proms as each other, but there is no palette in the colour proms we have that works for this background. So I think they've changed the colour proms for this background, and I don't know if Showtime still has the board and can redump them. But otherwise, if anybody has a 99 Last War board with this background on the first level, I would appreciate it if they could check the colour proms, because I'm pretty sure we do need a bump of a different set of colour proms for this to look correct. Every other stage is the same. Every other stage has the same background as the other sets. It's only the first stage that is changed, and there are no valid colours in the colour proms for it. This is another one with the secondary attack like this, by the way. If we get to the second stage, you'll see it all goes back to normal. So the bootleg hardware doesn't seem different. It's not that the colour bits are different in the background rendering. It's literally just the colours for this stage are not in the colour prom dumps, and he didn't dump the colour proms. So I don't think the colours can be fixed until that happens. Or somebody else dumps the colour proms for the version with this background. Now we get the UFO. Oh yeah, these versions do have the UFO on the first stage like this. I think the first set skipped this. It's quite tricky. You have to fire quickly and move out of the way. Or do this. So, scene 2, see, just like the other one on scene 2, correct colours and everything, and every other stage is the same. They're correct colours. Just that first stage, which is wrong. But you know, the story doesn't stop there, does it? There's an interesting set in MAME called Son of Phoenix, which is marked as a bootleg of Repulse by Associate Overseas Manufacturer Inc. Yeah, I was cheating a little bit just to show the point I was trying to make. The Son of Phoenix has a completely different story. In 1980, the Phoenix Empire was defeated, blah, blah, blah. And this is kind of interesting, because the game does have the shield like Phoenix. I think that's a very odd story to put in there. However, now, on this Son of Phoenix set, which apparently a lot of people remember, the music is playing right at the start. So this is the only set that has music all the time, right from the start of the game. Yeah, I'm still cheating. Some shield. You can see why they called it Son of Phoenix. It's got this shield feature, even though you're not shooting, you know, birds. I don't know if there's anything more to the story of this being called Son of Phoenix, other than that being a bootleg name. I also don't know why this version does have the music all the time. That's what the bootleggers did, or if it's based on a different version of the game. Not exactly the most creative piece of music at this point, but... Again, if we cheat our way through, you'll see the next level is just the same as the other sets. It's only this first level that changes around on some of the sets. It was also released with a Sega license called Repulse. The title screen is different. Back to the usual story. And this is just like the other sets. Shield. Moonscape background on the first stage. There's nothing interesting to really show with that set, so... There you go. The rather odd case of 99 The Last War, aka Son of Phoenix, aka Repulse, where I'm pretty sure for that one bootleg version the colour proms need dumping. I don't know if Showtime still has the board or will dump the colour proms, but they do seem to need dumping on that set, because I don't think you can just fix the colours in MAME without a proper colour prom dump. And I don't know why they would change it on just that one set, unless that is how it's meant to look, but it looks really bad. So, I don't know. It said there was another trade name for Magic Electronics. So maybe it wasn't a bootleg. Maybe it was licensed in some way. I don't know. Right. We are on almost 3 hours now, in fact. So I'm not going to have time to play a lot of the games I wanted to play again. As often happens on these streams. So what will we play? I think we will go for a prototype. Let's play a bit of Video Vince and the Game Factory, a Nilstar prototype. For some reason the intro here reminds me of things like Technician Ted on the Spectrum. I think that drew in the title at the start, didn't it, or something? I can't remember. Yes, the top scores are being drawn on very slowly by a guy on a window cleaning lift, or a painting lift. Also, Paceman Pat was another game where you controlled a guy with a paintbrush on a ladder, I think. But there we go. The big scores, top 2000. It's not the top 2000 scores. And yeah, you draw the game name the same way. Video Vince and the Game Factory. There you go. Let's just clean it up. Cage the Critters. A little bit quiet this one, so we'll bump up the volume. Hey Neil, yeah, say if you, I don't, I'm always good if people want to catch up. I know that not everybody has the time to watch every stream live. I mean, I'm doing quite a few streams lately, but obviously the Ogre will put timestamps on the streams later. So if you want to skip streams, skip games on catch up, it's easy to do that if you're watching catch up too. Oh, okay, good night Evie if you're asleep. I'll be finishing fairly soon anyway, so maybe I'll catch you before then, but we'll see. Now obviously catch that one in that cage. Get the other green, no. Yes, that does look like the snake off Cubit. Cage you critter. No, don't jump on the critter. Was Milstar Go Thief? I don't know what the exact connection was. But yeah, I've been doing some arcade streams looking at, say, games I don't think people play very often. I'm not as bad at this game as I'm making out. I'm just being a bit clumsy. But there are so many unreleased games on these platforms. Very slow to enter high score name. According to Wikipedia, yes. Watch out for Coil the Purple Snake. Yes, Coil was getting me, unfortunately. It does take a while to actually get into the next game though, which is never a good thing in an arcade game. People are waiting around wanting to start the game while the game is doing all sorts of other things. Maybe why it's a failed prototype. cage. Don't have to drop the cage, you just have to get the cage. Skipping games is not an option when you have OCD and love gaming. Even the ones I do really badly at, and they're objectively awful, or they're the best ones. Yeah, there is a bit of a wrapping problem there, but I think that's just the game. Get in the cage, monkey. Then we can leave. Maybe. Catch the notes. Why does that note want to eat me? Feels like a Marvin Glass and Associates Midway game. There was a Midway prototype I was going to play on this. Midway? I think it's Midway. But didn't get around to. So put the games together. Don't bump it. Beware of sparks. Don't let them touch the magnet. So yeah, I'm literally building the actual game cabinet here. No, I'm not actually put that part down. It's nice that gravity works in such a way that when something drops through the floor, it goes back through the roof. Oops. I'm sure this is exactly how cabinets... Oh yeah, I've got to put the sound in. Can't forget the sound hardware. Don't know why there's a rat in there though. Do I need to get the rat? I do need to get the rat. Apparently rats are important for gaming cabinets. There we go, I've built a Video Vince cabinet. It is ironic how a game about building arcade cabinets got cancelled. Now we've got to pack the games and push them into the pallet. This is the part they obviously failed on. Is it a monkey? Oops. Oops. This is clearly what happened in the factory. Oops. Oops. There's a Cubert. And a Mac 3. This is an accurate simulation of the actual factory that these games were developed in. Look, we might have shipped a unit. One unit. Uh-oh, this one's not going to get shipped. We shipped one unit, folks. One unit. And then we get to catch all these things again in cages. Clearly this factory had issues. It's like an arcade one-up factory. There we go. Video Vince and the Game Factory. I think we can see why it's a prototype. It has a little charm. I don't really know about the sprite wrapping. Maybe the implementation is wrong and the other games just don't use sprites at the edge so nobody's noticed. Maybe it's just kind of glitchy on hardware. Don't know. Nobody's ever put any real footage of this running on hardware up, so I can't tell you. But yeah, we're over 3 hours now, and I think I should probably end it. I mean, there's plenty more to do. I don't know if I get a chance to do a part 4 of this, but I might do. I mean, people seem to be enjoying these streams of lesser played games, but quality control. Yeah, this is why they don't have me working in factories. Maybe it would have worked better as a computer game. It does feel a bit like a computer game, Johnny Bond. I think it would have done quite well on, say, the Spectrum or something like that, or the CPC. Maybe somebody could do an unofficial port of it. But yeah, so thank you to everybody who's been here. It's been fun, as always, having a chat with everybody. Yeah, a game about building arcades in the arcades doesn't really work. Maybe we should have been building boxing up ZX Spectrums. The Spectrum did have things like Night Shift, which is a game I never quite got the hang of, where you're in a factory. And if I was to do another computer stream, I might play a bit of Night Shift and see if I can work it out. But yeah. So thank you to everybody who's been here. Thank you. It's been great having a chat. To Aussie Guy dropping the facts. And yes, Milstar did have a lot of prototypes. Maybe a lot of companies did, but we know about a lot of the Milstar ones, and many of them are dumped and available to play in MAME. Some are missing sound ROMs and things like that. Maybe the sound was never developed. Maybe they've been lost. But many of the games are at least playable. So yeah, exactly, Neil. I like to help people discover things, and some of these are bad. But if there's a game that I think I've never seen anybody playing that. I don't see people loading streams. I don't streams of them. I don't see some of these covered in people's favourite games list or worst games list. And some of these are pretty good. Some of them pretty bad. If you're going for a broader idea of games in either field, I think maybe people would enjoy some of these. So take care, and I'll see you on the next one. Good night, and yeah, see you. Bye.